I got here about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. I am the Director of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging for the city. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker, all of those things. I like to use all sides of my brain. Juneteenth to me is Freedom Day. It's the day where the remaining enslaved people were informed that they were no longer enslaved. And so I know that a lot of people would prefer us to celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation, but until all of us were free, none of us were free. And I think that as a community, we understood that and we knew that because there were free people while, at the height of slavery. There were still free people. They had freedom papers, but they could still be enslaved. And so knowing that there were still people in Texas that were still held in bondage and they had no idea that they were free, put everyone at risk. So Juneteenth to me represents Freedom Day, more so than Emancipation Proclamation. And Juneteenth has always been a part of my life. I've always gone to Juneteenth celebrations, and so for me, having a Juneteenth celebration here made sense. It was kind of a selfish reason, because I didn't want to miss out on Juneteenth celebrations. And this celebration that we had last week, I've never been to a Juneteenth like that in my life. And so it was fun to be a part of that. It was fun to be a part of the planning process, and it was fun to see people come out and have fun and play double dutch and play basketball and listen to poetry and watch performances and have a dance party at City Hall. We had gospel music playing at City Hall Park. That was amazing. And so Juneteenth meant everything that I felt on Saturday and much, much more. There has been changes. We did go through Reconstruction. Reconstruction, though, set up what we now know as systemic racism. And so there has been changes. There hasn't been enough movement. It took us a long time to get to this point. It's going to take us a long time to get out. But the fabric of the country was built on systemic racism and bondage and theft of land. So we have to reckon with that. We have to realize that. We have to admit that. We have to teach that to our children, how this country came to be. And only then will we start to move ourselves out of this discourse. So yeah, there's been movement. I don't have any chains and shackles on me physically, but emotionally and mentally, I know that there's areas of this country that I cannot go to. There's places that my presence will not be appreciated. And so there's places where I can go where I could lose my life and no one will bat an eye. I cannot drive down the street fast for fear of being pulled over by police, because that interaction could make me lose my life. So although I'm not in physical change, I'm not physically bondage, there's still a lot of work to do for me to be considered free. So that's why we call Juneteenth on my t-shirt, it says free-ish since 1865, because we're not 100% free. It's going to be hard. I don't think that any of us alive today will outlive racism or outlive a racist society, because it's here. It's what we breathe, it's what we think, it's what we eat. It's what we teach our children. Our entire educational system is an indoctrination system into the system of racism. So what I want to do here is I just want to plant seeds, knowing that I definitely probably won't see those trees grow into magnificent trees, but generations after me will be able to sit under those trees. And to me, that's all I need to know in order to keep this movement going. We have to start somewhere. And although I know it's going to take a long time to get us out, someone has to begin. And so I'm here to begin that process. Juneteenth has been celebrated by Black people in this country for over 100 years, about 150 years, more than 150 years. And so it's like now white people have caught up. Congratulations. But we've been celebrating it for a long, long time. And so for me, I don't think that that's enough, no, because we still have a long way to go. I mean, the federal government has just acknowledged that, you know, we have a holiday that has been celebrated in this country for a long time, last week. And so if they just acknowledge that, they need to acknowledge a lot more. Acknowledge systemic racism is alive and well. Acknowledge that systemic racism is built into all of our legislation, all of our laws, the fabric of the country. Acknowledge that, you know, Black people built this country by force. Acknowledge that. The entire city of Washington, D.C., you cannot walk in any building, on any street, without knowing that that was built by slave labor. You cannot do it. So we need to start acknowledging some things in this country, and we need to have truth and reconciliation. We need to have reparations. So no, acknowledging Juneteenth as a federal holiday is not enough. It will never be enough for the torture and the trauma that has happened in this country. My plan is to shift the culture of the city of Burlington. I want to see myself reflected everywhere I go. I want to see you reflected everywhere I go. I want to make sure that every Black and brown person in this city feels like they belong here, that they're a part of this city, that they should be here and they should be a part of the process. And the best way to do that, I think, is through art. And so I plan to do a public art piece somewhere in the city. We still have to scout those spaces. I put up 3 murals over Juneteenth and plan to put up a lot more that reflect the culture and the richness of the city. And that's my plan of action moving forward, is to shift the culture.
Africa, baby.